When it comes to creating a vast, uncharted world filled with details and complexities, not many animes do it like One Piece. One Piece has many great qualities that make it the world-renowned series that it is today. But something that the majority of fans can agree on is that One Piece's world building is like no other. One of the greatest reasons why One Piece is so successful is because it has some of the best, if not the best, world building in all of anime and manga. However, as of late, I have decided to catch up to another very notable series known as Hunter x Hunter. And I've realized that the world building in Hunter is right up there with the world building in One Piece. The Hunter manga introduces us to what is known as the Dark Continent. Basically, it's the world beyond worlds. And it makes you realize that the world in Hunter that we've known to grow and love is a mere fraction of what is to come. If you pull up a full map of the world of Hunter x Hunter, you will realize that the world we know so far is not even a tenth of the world that is outside of it. And after learning more about the Dark Continent and just seeing how vast it is and getting tons of details on it, I've come to the realization that the Dark Continent in Hunter x Hunter is everything that the Grand Line should have been in One Piece. Now, I know that may be a super hot take, but let's break down the reasons as to why I believe this to be the case. First off, let's talk about how both of these places are introduced and what they ended up achieving. The Grand Line is sold to us as viewers as being a mysterious, lawless sea with uncharted islands, unpredictable weather, and countless amounts of sea creatures that will take you out in an instant. On top of that, it is teeming with pirates that will instantly slaughter you if you're not prepared. Similarly, the Dark Continent is portrayed to be this untamed land, filled with dangerous creatures never seen before, and among these creatures exists 5 great calamities, threats that are capable of wiping out the entire human race. In fact, these threats are listed to be higher dangers than anything we've ever seen before in Hunter x Hunter, including the Chimera Ants. Now, with the way these two places are introduced, they seem very similar to one another. However, the difference is that when the Straw Hat Pirates reach the Grand Line, we sort of realize that the Grand Line wasn't everything that it was hyped up to be, and it becomes more and more predictable as the story goes. With the Dark Continent, it maintains its mystique and the sheer terror behind it, and it makes us feel as if no amount of preparation will ever help you against the Dark Continent. Now, some of you may believe that this is not a fair comparison because you might say, well, we've actually seen what the Grand Line has to offer. The Straw Hats are in the Grand Line currently. However, the characters in Hunter x Hunter haven't reached the Dark Continent yet, so we don't really know what it has to offer or whether or not it will live up to the hype behind it. However, here's the thing with the Dark Continent and why it stands out in comparison to the Grand Line. You see, in the Grand Line, we've seen that if you are strong, you will survive. And not just survive, you'll survive pretty effortlessly because by the time we reach the Dressrosa arc, the environment of the Grand Line really doesn't matter for the Straw Hats. We don't see them running into unpredictable weather. We don't see them fighting for their lives against sea creatures. None of that. Because the way the Grand Line was hyped up to be, it made you feel like every single day was going to be a struggle to survive when that is not the case whatsoever. So once you reach a certain level of strength, the Grand Line's so-called threats that we were told about in the beginning don't really matter because the characters are just way too strong for them. And this is where the Dark Continent excels because the term too strong does not apply to the Dark Continent whatsoever. We saw in a flashback Isaac Netero and Zig Zoldyck, 2 of the potentially strongest Nen users in all of history, went to the Dark Continent and they realized that they were practically no match for it. Isaac Netero in his prime, potentially the strongest character we have seen in the Hunter franchise, told us that there is no victory in the Dark Continent, only survival. So in the Dark Continent, it doesn't matter how strong you are because even the strongest are powerless. You cannot just overpower the Dark Continent the way you can overpower the Grand Line. That's not how it works. And another reason why I love the Dark Continent so much more than the Grand Line is what it does for the characters and their journeys. You see, the Grand Line serves as a way for the Straw Hats to prove their strength and to prove that they are capable of dominating and conquering the entire sea, and Luffy becoming Pirate King. In the Dark Continent, however, there is nothing to prove. There is no individual triumph, and as Isaac Netero said, there is no victory, only survival. It is served as a reminder as to how insignificant the human race in Hunter actually is, and just how big and vast the world of Hunter x Hunter truly is. And in my opinion, the mystery aspect of the Dark Continent is also much better than the mystery aspect of the Grand Line. Now, this one isn't the most fair comparison because the Grand Line is much more explored than the Dark Continent, but the main mysteries I can think of for the Grand Line are the Void Century and Laugh Tale. Now, these are by far the biggest mysteries in all of One Piece and potentially the biggest mysteries in all of anime. However, in my opinion, the Dark Continent excels because it just has much more mysteries. The Void Century and Laugh Tale may be greater mysteries, but I find it much more intriguing the fact that we know little to nothing about the Dark Continent. With One Piece's Grand Line, however, it's all just sort of loosely connected islands mostly. The big mysteries are the ones we see at the end game. However, every little thing in the Dark Continent is a mystery no matter how insignificant it is. So while the Grand Line may be iconic in its own way, it just doesn't live up to the hype that was given to us before the Straw Hats actually entered it. We expected every day in the Grand Line to be a battle of survival, but we quickly realized that if you're strong enough and if you have some good navigation, you're essentially cruising in the Grand Line. The Dark Continent, on the other hand, takes the concept of uncharted territory and elevates it to a level that we have never seen before. And I genuinely believe that the Dark Continent is everything that the Grand Line should have been in the series of One Piece. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree that the Dark Continent is just the better version of the Grand Line? Or do you think that the Grand Line is still the standard for adventures in anime? Let me know, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.